Donetsk airport, one of the most fiercely contested pieces of turf outside the enclave of Debaltsevo itself. We'll come to that in a second in no uncertain terms, but first off, let's have a look at some images filmed today around the Debaltsevo area. This a fiercely contested town. Quite simply, the rebels say this is not part of the peace agreements, it's ours, we're going to take it no matter what. Ukrainians say, absolutely part of Minsk, and our forces are not moving. The violence there continues, and it's going to continue. Everyone knows that. Well, back here in Donetsk city itself, the regional capital, we were taken, as you say, off to see what remains, and it isn't much, of the airport. This has been fought over for months, and I have to tell you that by the nature of the story, we were filming dead bodies of soldiers in close-up, and that is central to an element of tonight's report. Obviously, some people may find that disturbing and may choose to look away.
Come to the airport, said the rebels. There's something you'll want to see. A propaganda trip with the message: Ukrainians are still shelling the airport and breaking the ceasefire. Smoke from the building behind us, all right, but incoming Ukrainian shelling or a propaganda blast by rebels to fool the media? It is the ultimate Pyrrhic victory: blood, death, destruction, to win and hold an airport which no longer exists. The departure lounge. The airport hotel. The landscaped trees outside arrivals. Across the day, there have been reports of ceasefire violations from down south in Mariupol right up to this area and further north to Debaltsevo, where Reuters reported that pro-Russian forces were pounding the place relentlessly. But at the airport, the army's message is simple.
Well, we always say we are ready for this current ceasefire. We only return fire if civilians or our army are threatened. If it's just provocation, we won't return fire.
The rebels have moved us into this position at what remains of the airport terminal here in Donetsk. They say they've got something to show us, but it hasn't happened yet. We keep having to stop because of the continued shelling that's going on here this morning.
And this was what they wanted the world to see. Bodies, Ukrainian soldiers, they claim. 4 at one location, these 2 elsewhere. Their wrists tied with electric flex. They'd been brought here after they'd been killed elsewhere, we were later told. It was unclear where they'd originally been killed or why their wrists were tied, and whether that had happened before or after death. Questions perhaps more for a pathologist than a journalist.
It's not much of an advert for a ceasefire that's holding. This was billed as some kind of at least vaguely organised press trip into what used to be the airport here in Donetsk. This is a long way from the Debaltsevo enclave, which is still being fought over. So it's quite clear that the ceasefire is not happening, certainly in this area, as well as Debaltsevo itself.
So how does all this destruction come to an end? How does the sequencing of the Minsk peace deal become a reality? The process by which both sides pull back their heavy weapons. Well, the soldiers here gave an answer that was predictable.
If the Ukrainians keep to their side of the agreement, the deal says the heavy weapons will go after 48 hours of ceasefire.
Она наступила? Has it already happened?
Well, can you hear the noise? So go and ask the opposition.
As ever in this war, what you see depends upon where you are. There were no heavy weapons fired by these pro-Russian forces whilst we were with them. but clearly there was no ceasefire in a meaningful sense either.